in the hood with it. Welcome back to the Collective Clips, where you already know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding! Put your notification bell on all, so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I'm kicking. I highly appreciate all the support. We are going up on this channel, and it's all because of you. And for that, I'm very humbled. Thank you. So I got asked another question. Damn, they asked me a lot of questions, huh? And sometimes I have the answers and sometimes I don't. But in this case, I think I have the right answer. So I'm going to go ahead and answer this question. So I was asked by a subscriber, why do the southsiders, the southern Raza, the southern Mexicans, why are they clicked up with the whites? Why are they clicked up with the white men, the woods, the skins? How does that work out? How does them being brown not conflict with them being white? Behind the walls of the California prison system, right? And I used to wonder that myself. Okay, until I realized and I was gained up and educated enough to understand the answer to that question. And the answer is a very easy answer, right? And it goes like this. Who said they are clicked up? Whoever said they were. You need to be hitting that, right? You need to be hitting that. People assume people are doing things that they're not. Okay, let me put it for instance. When I was young, I thought because in the youth authority, there was very few woods that held on like in Vogue. There was very few that were like really about the business. Most, while incarcerated and in the early 90s, would get advantage taken of them because they didn't have numbers. There wasn't very many of them, at least in Fred C. Nellis in the South Side, in Whittier. But the few that were strong as fuck, they did rock with the Southerners. They did fall up under their programming and kick it with them and function with them. That's just the way that was. But then when I went up north to Northern California, Preston, Carl Holton, institutions like that, they were doing their own damn thing. They had a few more heads, a few more numbers, and they had just, kind of pulled themselves away from what the Southern car had going on. So I was a little confused, but I understood as white men, they're going to stand proud and do their own thing, whereas Southsiders are going to do theirs as well. Now, I was on the outside looking in, being the opposition of both groups. And I always wondered why I was the opposition of the white man, but the Southerners weren't. But I was truly confused because I didn't know what the get down was. The white men, the woods. Listen here, brother, as long as they had coffee, everything was going to see all right, cuz. Or wait up, those are Crips, right? When it was the whites, we were never really at odds with them. We had a few skirmishes, a few things. It was always personal. I didn't realize that because I assumed, just like everyone else did, that the South and the woods rocked together on every little thing. But then when I started to really think about it, there were so many riots and so many melees and so much drama that happened. When it would be North and South, woods never participated. When it'd be Black and South, very, very once in a while, and this is in the youth authority, would woods participate. So really, at the end of the day, who were they really rocking with? They were rocking, and the white man marches on. They were doing their own thing. Now, fast forward to prison years later. And again, I'm under the assumption that they are allies, that they are against us. And you initially think that when you get to prison because the DNA and the makeup, and I ain't going to give you all the politics, but when you get into prison in California in that system, okay, it's very racially segregated. I've said it many times. So in the day room, on one side of the day room is split, literally split in half by a control tower. And on one, this is the 270 design. On one side of the day room, it's going to be the Blacks, Crips, Bloods, others, Muslims, non-affiliated Blacks, Kumis. Well, it doesn't matter. As long as they got pigmentation to their skin, they're on one side with the Norteños, the Northern Raza, and the others. That's how that goes right there. Others being Polynesians, Usos, Tongans, Asians. That's one side of the yard right there. Boom, one side of the day room. On the other side, you're going to have the Native Americans, the woods or skins, and of course the Southerners. That's just how they rock, okay? Anyone else that's a floater, there's no such thing. So it's racially segregated amongst them lines. But that doesn't mean just because you program or you function on a certain side of the day room that you guys get along, or that you're allies, or that if something ever kicks off, you got their back 100%. Because there's been many instances where I thought, that the woods and the Southsiders were all one. That if you fucked with one, you fucked with, if you fucked with one bean, then you fucked with the meatloaf as well, brother. Right? It wasn't like that. Because there's been so many times that I've seen Southerners handle their business and get involved in certain situation with blacks or with the others or with even the natives, right? And the whites didn't participate. And then I've seen so many times, the whites get off with people and and the Southsiders didn't help them. This big illusion that has been out there, this big myth, this Bigfoot myth, right? That Southsiders and whites are clicked up. It's not the truth. Let me tell you what's up, right? In my time incarcerated and all the time that I did, the two groups that I seen go at it the most, no, it wasn't Southsiders and blacks, and it sure wasn't North and South. They're probably the ones I seen go at it the least, right? But the groups that I seen go at it the most, I mean, it would be popping all the time, were the Woods and the Southsiders. You got to understand, the Woods pretty much are just solid white dudes, solid white men, right? A lot of them not into racial shit, but they go in there and they function with their people as they should. They're doing their program and what they have to do. Now, there are skins that are a little bit different. I'm talking about skinheads. They're just a little bit different. A lot of these guys don't become skinheads in prison. They come with that. They come with them type of qualities and them type of views and outlook on life. And ain't nothing wrong with this. Skinheads are solid. Oi, got love for you, brothers. They're solid. But they come with that segregation where they're segregating themselves from other ethnic groups because of whatever reasons that they have. That's their cause. That's their gang. That's what they believe in. There's no one that can knock anyone else's belief system just because you don't identify or understand it. Never talk shit about someone because you are not of understanding. Because I can give you some knowledge you can't get in college. Just because a skinhead likes to segregate himself and stay away from certain people doesn't mean he ain't a good, solid dude. It just means that's what he does. Okay? So when it comes to the skins, they refuse to let a Southsider dictate their program. They refuse to let any one of different ethnic group or what they consider a minority tell them what to do. Okay, and the Southerners are always in their leadership role on any yard they're at. They control most of the yards. So there's no way they're going to let anyone else tell them what to do. That's the conflict of interest. And of course, the Woods function real tough up under the skins in most cases, right? So you could see the shit right there. Now, they do have a common enemy. And I think this stigma and this myth has been put out about Southsiders and whites functioning together by a lot of the brothers, man, by a lot of the blacks. Because if you look at some of the comments that I get when I do a video on the Southsiders, though, there's always a brother or two that jump in and say, yeah, y'all function under the white man. The Raza fucking bow down to the white man. And just certain things, right? If, you're supposed to be brown, then why are you kicking it with white? Why not? Why can't you kick it with whoever you want to kick it with? That right there is reverse racism. Hey, if you're so cool, I'm going to call you a culo. Why do you kick it with this person? No one kicks it with no one. You kick it with your own gente, your own people first and foremost. Believe me, if anyone else, it doesn't matter. Even if there was a fucking truce or they were clicked up, they'll still get off on them for their own people. Nobody touches your people but you. Nobody disrespects your people but you. That's the golden rule in prison. Respect and hands-off policies. Don't touch no one. Don't even question it, homes. If you got an issue with one of our homeboys, come get at us and we'll deal with it. That's the Southsiders rock like that. The Northenders rock like that. The Woods, the blacks, everybody rocks like that. You will not lay one finger on a different ethnic group or everything's going to crack off, homes, and someone's going to get meta-flighted up out of there. In fact, a few people are. But I know the brothers are confused on certain situations and think that the Southsiders and whites program together or are clicked up. That's not the truth, man. It's furthest from the truth. Okay, I'm sure in some instances they probably have. It depends on numbers. If there's a gang of Southsiders and there's Woods there and they're programming together, they're doing a little business behind the scenes, they might come to an understanding. Look, if something happens with you guys, let us know, homes. We got you. Not tucked under the wing, nothing like that, but like we got you. You're good people. We fuck with you. That's what it is, right? And vice versa. But it's never vice versa because the Southsiders are always deep, right? Back in the 60s, when different organizations were first formed in the California system, you need to understand that they were formed because of oppression. They were formed because a lot of Mexicans, and I'm talking about the Mexican gang as well as the whites, right? Bloods and Crips were not around yet. They came just a little bit later. But there were organizations like, of course, the Black Guerrilla Family, man, which held it down, but were more structured and more political, more militant when it comes to the brothers. They were about black power rather than gang banging or, gangs from the streets. Little by little, the Crips philosophy came in, and of course they were about helping their communities, helping their people in Southern California, and they established, and the Bloods established. And then there became a lot of different generations coming from the streets, and it became infused with more gangbanging and more politics from the streets rather than the political prison politics that it once was. The brothers are so fragmented in different groups, man. That's just how it was. You had the Bay Area cats, you had the Muslims that were more into their religion, you had the the blacks that were not part of gangs or not part of any group organization, that just wanted to do their time. But of course they were black, so they were going to rock with their race above all else. That's just how it is. Now with the Woods, you have the Woods and the Skins, and that's pretty much the way it goes. There is no non-affiliated white guy. You're going to get in there and get your ass affiliated with, and that's just how it is. Southsiders, you go. If you're from down south, Mexican, boom, go with your people. North, same shit. Okay, so back in the days when a lot of these organizations, prison gangs, were first formed, they were formed out of oppression. Oppression because a lot of the Mexicans were migrants, and they were farm workers, and they were people that couldn't speak English. Even the ones that were from down south in these big cities, a lot of them were second generation coming from families that just came from Mexico. So they were being picked on, ridiculed, oppressed, raped, taken advantage of. A lot of different things were happening to the Raza. So the Raza had to rise up. And the first ones to rise up, of course, were the Vatos from down south in Southern California. Quietly as it's kept. I'm from Northern California, man, but I calls it the way I sees it. This is real historia right here. Klecha, knowledge you can't get in college. So it wasn't a south side thing or a north side thing at that time. It was a Mexican thing, Holmes, which is what we need it to be right now. But anyways, they came together with an understanding that they needed to form some type of organizations to protect their own from oppression, from guards treating them like shit because they couldn't speak English, from other inmates, different ethnic groups, whites and blacks taking advantage of them, stealing their property, doing sexual deviant things to them because they felt like these guys couldn't cry out for help. They were being victimized at every angle. So of course, Mexicanos, second generational Mexicanos that were born in the United States, Chicanos, came together and formed something, man, for protection. Now, along them lines, what happened is you would have chaos. You would have, because the Mexicans were getting deeper, the blacks didn't like that. The whites didn't like that. Nobody liked that. No one likes the new kid on the block. No one likes the new homeboy that just pulled up until he's cleared, right? That's just how it is. That's in the gang life. That's in real life. So with these guys doing it, they had to establish and gain their respect and handle their business. So when a lot of people think, oh, they just automatically, they've been with the whites. No, they used to go at it with whites. They used to go at it with blacks, okay? This is way pre-North and South. That came later on. Norteños and Sureños and all that. And I'm not going to speak on that here, the formation of that and all that. It's not that serious, right? Let's just say they came. But I'm talking about how it once was, how there was no cliques. They weren't clicked up together. There was no fucking, hey, Holmes, we got your back. Scratch mine, I'll scratch yours. Along the lines, what happened is the brothers, man, were a little bit more vicious. Okay, so the brothers posed, they were the biggest adversary to the Southsiders at that time. They were the biggest adversaries to the whites at that time. The whites be along racial lines, the Southsiders more so as a form of oppression. So what happened was the whites and the Southsiders came to an understanding that, hey, not click up, not allies, but a common enemy. We have a common enemy. So in most cases, when the blacks would get off, it posed a threat to the whole yard. See, this is what people don't get. They don't understand. If I go to the yard and I'm a functioning, active norteño, and I'm acting a fool, man. I'm acting a fool, and I get to a yard and it's going on. And what I mean by going on, there's a lot of business being conducted. A lot of people are bringing in a lot of shit from visita, however they're getting it in, right? And that fucking yard's staying high. And that's the main thing in prison, is that yard better stay high. That yard's staying high. Everyone's making their money. Don't rock the boat. Hey, when it comes to the green, they're trying to get in between. You know what I mean? When it comes to the money in prison, hey, it don't matter if it's your worst fucking enemy. Hold up, right? Brother, I like coffee. And no one's going to do anything to that guy. And I'll tell you why. Because there's too much going on. They're not worth it. There's a bigger program. But if I go in there and this shit's popping and I start fucking it off and I mess up the whole program because someone I feel disrespects me and I take flight without asking my homeboys proper protocol, I don't get at my proper channels or whatever, and I take flight and I fucking lock down the whole institution because I booked somebody, right? Guess what happens now? Now every different group is mad at my group. That had nothing to do with it. They couldn't prevent it. They couldn't prevent a forest fire, Smokey the Bear, right? They couldn't do none of that. And I'm locked up in the hole, away from everything, fighting a case or whatever. And now the homies are going to have to deal with the repercussions for that action. They're going to have to answer to other groups. And they don't like to answer to other groups. No group does. No men like to answer to other men. So that's just going to be a conflict of interest. And it could just keep spiraling out of, out of whack until it eventually ends up in different state prisons. It's just how it is. All because one fucking idiot didn't want to listen. So in that case, what happens is you have a lot of people that will be, you fuck the program up. They're all mad. They're not clicked up together. The whites and Southsiders are not going to click up together to go against the Northerners, but it's going to seem that way. It's going to seem that way. And of course, blacks, because they function on the same side of the yard, are going to, when they see a whole bunch of whites and Southsiders running up, they're like, oh, cuz, oh, Barro, and then it's on, right? So it's a lot of confusion that goes on. That's why in prison or even outside of prison, words, conversation is the best tool. That's the best tool you can utilize, man, is talk it out rather than get physical. If it got to go that route, then it goes that route. That's some real gangster shit. But until then, you guys can facilitate conversation. That's what real ones do. That's what smart, educated men do, is they talk shit out. They come to an understanding and realize it was just one fucking bad apple that didn't spoil the whole damn bunch. Donny Osmond shit. So anyways, for years, I thought the same thing. That Southsiders and whites rock together. And I've been involved in melees and things against whites and Southsiders combined. But I think it was more so just they have a common enemy. And, way in the past, there were certain prison organizations I'm not going to speak on that did help each other in certain situations against others, right? Now, I think because of that, people think that now in the year 2024, it's the same damn way. But it hasn't been that way in a long time. Like I said, as far as allies, nobody has an ally in prison. Not in the California system. See, everyone used to think the Norteños and the blacks rock together as well. And I've done videos and told you that's not the case. There was a point in time, man, where the Black Guerrilla family did have, they did have a lot of respect and a lot of canalismo with a certain group in there, the NF. So, at one point in time, not rocking together, but they had common enemies as well. When you have a common enemy, man, it benefits both groups. Why not? But it's not etched in stone, homie. We back you on every play. You back us on every play. Hike! They're not part of the same team. It's two different teams with the understanding that, hey, if these fools act stupid, let's get off. We can help each other to help each other. Let's go. So with the whites and the Southsiders, pretty much the same thing. But I've seen, like I said, man, I've seen them go at it more times than anyone else. Just because, there's different reasons. I can't tell you just because there's all kinds of fucking different reasons. But that's probably the most conflict I've ever seen with the Southsiders and the whites. So when I see fucking people saying, hey, they're clicked up, are they together? Do they rock all the time? They function on the same side of the yard. Sometimes they go, to the hole and they'll program together and work out together a few times. And if, because that's the way, you got to understand, it's not what they do. It's what CDCR does. Everything is dictated by the program of the cops. Well, why do I see in the movie Shot Caller, hey, essays in woods, 122s? You want to know why? Because the fucking cops put them together. They do that. They cause segregation. They put the Northerners and blacks out there on the yard together to work out together. And of course, you're going to become friends and work out. That's all you have. They do the same thing with the whites in the South. It has nothing to do with their political beliefs or what they want to do. It's more so on whoever the fuck's out there. And it's going to be the essays in the woods out there, right? And on the other yard, it's going to be the blacks and the Northerners. It's just how it goes. And the others or whatever, the cops want less bullshit. So they'll say, just keep them with their own. They've already racially segregated themselves, so let's go ahead. But really, they haven't. The CDC did that. They did that shit. They're the ones that gave the Norteños the moniker, the Northern Hispanics. You think there was a whole bunch of Mexicans running around, we're Northern Hispanics, or we're Southern Hispanics. No, fuck no. We don't even like the word Hispanic. Go ahead and take that and twist it, and like Wes Watson, shove it with your whole forearm up your culo. Look, they are the ones that fucking segregated everyone, but no one seems to see that. And it's the same thing in prison when it comes to fucking the whites and essays, right? They put them on the same side of the yard. So anyways, I hope that answered the question. No, it's a myth like Bigfoot, homie. In some cases, they're going to fucking function together because they have some understanding. They do a lot of business. So yeah, they might get off. But as far as like the Southsiders programming with them or fucking with them or eating with them or just chilling with them all day, every day, it's not the way it goes, man. And there are a lot of good woods, man. Good white people, man. They got a lot of love for Southerners, man. Got a lot of love for everyone. They just can't show it because of the way that the fucking politics are. That's just how that is. So, it can't be like, oh man, Southsiders, you rock with whites. Why you do that? But then people will say, well, Northerners, you rock with blacks. Well, why you do that? I don't see the color difference, bro. Whites, blacks, browns. To me, it's all fucking human. You know, I've always said that. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh man, you know, one thing and then do another. That's hypocritical. It's like this with me. It don't matter who the fuck you rock with, man, as long as you rock. You feel me? So, anyways, with that being said, I hope that answered the question. Are whites and Southsiders clicked up? I don't believe so. I've been to prison plenty of times. I know a lot of Southerners, a lot of whites, a lot of blacks. Real ones that have done real time in real life, right? And I could tell you one thing for sure and two things for certain, right? Everyone is going to get off with everyone unless it's your own people. And most of the time, here's the cold kicker. You're removing your own people, you know? So with that being said, I hope that you move with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive, the struggle, the struggle, the strive. I'm going to continue to do what I does right here on YouTube for the betterment of all people, man. I'm trying to make shit happen and provide the best possible content, not to glorify prison gangs or glorify prison or any of that, but to give you some real knowledge you can't get in college and answer questions, because that's what I do. So with that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to beat a head that wears this fly-ass bull's crown. And I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I believe in, man. And that's everybody being equal. Social status of equality. No one is better than anyone else. You might think so. You can dance better. You can sing better. You can run better. You can jump better. You know what I'm saying? But according to the torta, I bone better. Bang, bang! The gun.